Hey guys, we're back for another episode of DFFOO Bantercast. I'm Borf, and I'm back with another special guest. The Bobo King
Uh,
Supreme is back.
yes, I'm 40, the Bulbul King Supreme. I am glad to be a part of Bantercast to talk about upcoming content and also currently live content on JP. Yeah, good. Thanks for having me again, Blobs. These are fun.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, if you're watching this, you're probably wondering, hey, how good is Jack Garland or Core version 2.0? But yeah, I got his full kill last night. He, I didn't realize some things about him until I played with him a little bit last night, but how did your polls go for him?
They were pretty amazing. Spoiler alert for anybody watching on my Twitch that wasn't there, but I did get all of his gear. I only had to pity the LD, so to me that's a win.
Yeah, for me, I had to go 400 G tokens deep for the BT, but I ended up getting like 3 FR copies. Only 1 LD, but I'm fine with that, and a bunch
Oh,
of all
okay.
the other LDs along the way.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I got a lot of the Raijin and Cyan LDs because I was pulling on that banner.
Yeah, Raijin LD is very, very, very good, especially for this fight, because
Yes.
there's some mechanics where the boss is going to put debuffs on you at range intervals, so that's going to completely shut that down.
Yes. Yes. Raijin call, LD call, even as is about to come out, I would say for global is a call that a lot of people generally recommend to invest in. Even just as a call, it's that powerful. I
Yeah,
would
don't
say,
sleep on it.
yeah, I want to say that right now it's probably I want to put it at the top 3 or maybe even the top call. I mean, like, because it ages so well.
Yep. But how did your polls for last month's events go? Because we had last month we had Seymour, and who was prior? Oh yeah, it was it Sid Reigns, the PT before him. I think it was.
Uh, I think Sid Reigns. I ended up having to pity something. I forgot what it was. I think I had to pity the FR. I know that it. I know that I had to spend quite a bit of resources for it. I'm gonna probably have to go through my YouTube video for it, but I know that it was a longer pull session and a lot of resources went down the drain for me. So yeah, but I don't quite remember. I would have to go through all my pull videos again for last month just to see how they went. But I had I know that I had moments where I actually got the weapon pretty early and things like that.
Yeah, from what I
So, what
remember,
about yours?
I had something similar happened with Sid Reigns, at least with going to at least 400 G tokens deep around that point, or like 300 to 400 G tokens deep to get the BT at least. But the FR was
Mm.
pretty easy for me to grab.
I see, I see. Yeah, FRs for me have been like a hit or miss. Like I'd get it early or I have to go pretty deep for them. But luckily for this current character, I didn't have to go too far for the FR.
Yeah. I mean, how would you rate Sid Reigns now in JP with his full kit? With like
I
BT
still
plus and
think
all
he's
of
very
it?
powerful. I still think he's very powerful. Like I still think he's really strong. I still think overall the character is still like the design of the character is is pretty busted. But I think that characters have definitely, even up to now, have already caught up to him because there's so many different ways to do a ton of damage now. You know,
Yeah.
like launch is powerful, but there's just so many ways now to do a lot of damage. So I don't think he is nearly as impactful as he was when he first came out, but he's still definitely a very powerful unit with the new upgrades that he's gotten.
Yeah, that's pretty true. His main weakness is that his BT is heavily geared for him,
Hmm.
and you want to immediately have everything set up beforehand, so then you never waste any of those single 6 turns of his BT, so then you can get the full amount of his FR and BT out of it.
Hmm.
Also, he's pretty much strictly single target, so with there's multiple bosses, you have to be switching between the two targets, and either one of them stays alive or the other one is like full health and the other one's dead.
Yeah, that's well, at least like if you have his FR up and if he's in burst phase and you still have access to his burst effect, it's a lot of damage that he could churn out. So even switching back and forth,
Yeah.
I don't think hinders him nearly as much. But yeah, he is generally regulated more as like a single target type of a unit.
So I would say he's on the level of like Tifa in terms of damage, but in terms of like flexibility, I think Tifa has him be better because his bravery fun comes mainly from only when he's in the chase, while Tifa just straight up always has the like several HP dumps all the time. And that BT phase lasts much longer and just amplifies it. It could do
Right,
more damage, yeah. Even though she's only strictly single target.
Right. Yeah, so as long as you have, the gauges up and the burst effect up for these characters that are regulated to be more single target damage, they can still do very well in targets where, in fights where there's multiple bosses. Absolutely.
Yeah, but that fight that when Sid Reigns first comes out and is pretty much Sid Reigns, or you have to bring people who have a ton of brave recovery and kill the boss right before it gets to 20%.
Right.
If you don't, then well, I think you pretty much lose. And if the boss gets a turn, well, you pretty much lose. And that's
that Spiritus fight is pretty nasty. It is pretty nasty without Sid Reigns, because you have to really work hard at it. It's another example of like, wow, this is tough without the actual featured character, but it is doable.
Yes,
it is doable. I know there have been people that have done it.
It's gonna take a little bit elbows on the grease to work at it to make it work and win.
Yeah,
that's another case of Raiden LD being very, very strong for that fight, mainly because you are preventing the boss from inflicting debuffs on you, so in case you do get it, the boss does mess up at least a little bit, the run isn't completely dead. So people are forgetting, it's like, oh, he just prevents the boss from dealing HP damage. It's like, no, the boss also prevents the boss from dealing any kind of debuff, so any kind of like turn interval or HP threshold, like debuffs are put on like at those like random interval HP thresholds, it'll prevent all of that. So that's why it's so good.
Right, it is. That's why the Raijin call is, I would say, is super important to have in your back pocket, because it's such a lifesaver. It's pretty much like, think of like Reno's debuff, but like on steroids. It's that powerful, and it doesn't just fall off after the enemy like acts or tries to damage you. Like it's there for at least a few turns. It's so powerful.
Yeah, 2 turns is more than enough for it to last. But did you pull anyone else besides first, like situating to that banner, like Anna Crow, Lilith?
Yeah, I did. I pulled for everybody else. Because I'm trying to. On JP, I generally, this. I try to pull for everybody. So, come time, these characters are about to come out to global. Assuming that I'm still making content for this game, which I am for the time being, I can at least give the community live visual gameplay, which some people have found to be really helpful. So
yeah, and then I just remembered that I got Lilith FR when I was at your birthday party. Yeah, I like Lilith like new kit. At least I used her for the new dimension Transcendence, like one of the side gates. But did you end up using like Lilith or Anna Crow, like beyond?
I have not used them. I have not used them yet. I need to. I'm gonna probably go back to old content, to be truth be told, or maybe wait for like some more other Shinryus to come out to use them, just to kind of like test them out and things like that. Because usually I've been noticing whenever like a featured character gets an FR, I I kind of wait to use them and kind of check to see who other people have used for the fight, and then kind of get an idea of, okay, I'm going to be bringing this character, or maybe I don't really need to bring the featured unit, so that's usually what I try to do.
Yeah, makes sense. But past that, we have Transcendence 12 with Seymour. So I ended up getting his FR off 100 tickets and his BT off free pull while I was on the toilet. So the Omar pull ritual worked for me.
That's funny.
How did your Seymour pulls go?
I got his FR. I actually still don't have his burst, but it's what it is. If I get enough tokens to eventually get it, maybe I will. But I didn't even use him for Transcendence 12. I took Celeste to that, and it's actually on my channel. But I soloed Reckoning with Celeste, and I think I got that idea from Dwin in my chat, and also there's one other person who gave me that idea, and it wasn't like all you had to do was execute it properly, and Celeste could solo that, because Celeste, I think, deserves a bit more attention because she has the capability to solo some of these Shinryu fights because of the way that the way that her FR gauge behaves. Like, you want enemies to act, you want them to actually attack you and take turns, and that for a character like Celeste, where she feeds off of their brave, whenever they're hitting you with magic brave damage, it's perfect. So I enjoyed using her for that. So I haven't touched Seymour at all, even though I have his gear minus his BT.
So luckily I've been using him quite a bit for these past couple events, even though he was boosted. But yeah, he still has that little gimmick of he doesn't get like to his full potential until the boss gets to like 49%. But the guy hits ridiculously hard, even up to before he even gets to that point. It's just like icing on the cake when he gets to 49% for a boss, or even just 79%, because then that's when he starts mixing in the follow-up for his skill 1 into the mix. Then at 49 you get skill 1, skill 2, and his LD being mixed in. So at certain points in the fight, you're having him doing like 9, 11 HP dumps, just all AoE, just like mass amounts of damage.
Yeah, I mean, I saw footage of him, and I did watch a few videos, and I've talked to a lot of people that have used him already, and he is very good. He is super good.
He is a nuke, and Welcome Sockum animation is very funny.
Yeah, summoning Anima was definitely a treat to see. Even though I know there's people that don't like Seymour, but at least that's pretty cool that they gave him that. I mean, they have to. That's his. That's his. I was about to say Eidolon. I forgot what they called summons in
Aeons.
Final Fantasy X. Aeons, there you go.
Yeah, it's pretty much. He's still a very big AoE nuke. Alright. So, I mean, for Jack Garland, let's see. The main thing about him is that he has negative brave mechanic, which is based on his max, like total amount of max brave. If you don't have his his 2-turn frame buff, it's like 200%, but if you have his BT buff, it's 400%. And I've always seen bosses being moved under like 700k negative brave, which is a lot of extra damage because his full kit is based around that and how much damage he can do based on that.
Yeah, and I think honestly, what makes this character so strong, especially when you have the burst, is that applies to your party members too. It's not just him, and
yeah,
that's why I was, when I read the full description, the full translated description of what he's able to provide to the party as well with that BT aura alongside everything else that he does with his kit, I was like, this guy is going to be the best DPS character hands down. And at the same time, he's helping the rest of your party deal more damage. Like, with that minus brave mechanic is extremely powerful. It is so powerful because that's added damage that you're doing, and it scales with the FR gauge. Because I watched Stimpy's video clearing this new Shinryu with Jack Garland, and the moment he went into the FR gauge and then he went into burst, bosses were at 89%. throughout the entire burst phase, he took them down like it was nothing. Like I was seeing damage being pumped out like 40 million off of like one press of a button. I was like, what in the world is this? Like this is crazy. And that's not even using launch. He was only using Kane's follow-up attacks as added extra damage.
Yeah.
And Kane's follow-up attacks were benefiting from that added damage with the negative Brave and Jack Garland's BT effect. So he's extremely powerful. He is extremely powerful. It's just mind-boggling how powerful they made him. But it's cool. I mean, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it doesn't scale up the secondary damage doesn't scale up FR, but I don't think it needed to, if we were being honest, because if it did, yeah, he would be extremely busted, but dealing at least 200 extra HP damage on every HP dump for every other character is really, really strong. Like, when you said Kane's like, oh yeah, it reminds me, I did a test review last night, and my Kane was hitting pretty much double his HP, like pretty much doubled his HP, so he was dealing like 8 million at the very end of the F4 on each target. I was like, well, this is very strong.
It is super powerful. So, I mean, full disclosure, and I'm going to say it right now, when this character will eventually come out to global, you guys should consider investing if you care about like meta busting units, and also obviously if you care about this character too, if you really like this character and you want to take, you know, the path of least resistance, as what Black Nero says, this character is it, as far as like the damage department, unless of course global gets some kind of global first or something, because you know global gets global first and they tend to be pretty broken too. But yeah, this character is great. This character is fantastic. I do have a question. That 2-turn buff that you want on him, which skill is that provided by?
That is from the EX. So
that's from the EX?
It's on a slow recast timer, so you have to just either, that shouldn't really matter in the long terms of things if you just set them up correctly and play the game that people are playing the game like, which is basically discharge FR gauge immediately, quickly, and then just giving him several repeated turns. But it's that, and I'm pretty sure it's only from the BT that gives them that unique buffs, because it doesn't last too long. That's the main weakness of it. So you really...
the BT. Well, I don't know, the BT lasting for. We're talking about the BT effect? Or we're talking about the EX.
Both of them are pretty much the same to give the base around the same general effect. The BT is just a very, very stronger version of it that lasts longer and does have stronger effects.
Yeah, I did see some people saying that his BT effect is underwhelming because it's only 6 turns. Well, truth be told, if it was any longer, it would be even more broken. I think 6 turns is a good way to balance it out because it's just so powerful.
Yeah, that's why you don't. Yeah, that's why you wouldn't see like Sid Vayne's being 8 turns, because if it lasts longer, then he would be able to just clean up the other bosses if that was the case. And same thing with Jack. People would just be slotting him into every other party team and friend unit, because that's how strong his BT is.
Yep, I totally agree. So, what about Greg's rework?
So I looked at that, and I played around with it a little bit, and you can still skip it. It's nothing really noteworthy. I mean, yeah, skill 1 got more HP dumps. Skill 2 got pretty much nothing changed except more brave hits, but no additional HP dumps. LD is pretty much the same. The only new thing that really stands out is that his HP rotating HP attack now has 3 dumps. But he still has a problem of you going through the BT phase too quickly, and he's just kind of pretty generic now. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not sure if Altema was memeing or they just forgot to update his score, but they gave him a 50, which I'm like, really?
I wouldn't say 50. He's definitely on the lower end of BT pluses in terms of effects, but in terms of kits, but yeah.
Yeah, likely though when he gets his C100, because I'm assuming we should be C100 by the time he gets his FR. He's probably going to be a lot better. Hopefully
Yeah,
by then, so he stops being a meme.
give him an FR, and then yeah, we'll see something cool with him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But overall, you like Jack Garland?
Yes. I mean, I haven't even played his game yet, but I'm just amazed by how powerful they made the character. And they gave him a cool alternate outfit. And I mean,
I
even
got
the
it.
character himself, like his actual design without his alternate skin, it doesn't look too half bad. It's buff core. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
He looks cool. I think he's cool.
So beyond that, we have the Golden Week. So we have the daily free multis coming back with FRs on them. So
Yes, I did see that. That is awesome.
this is up to you now, FR. So your chances of getting any other FR past that is pretty not likely, but you have a chance. Last time this like free multi thing came out, I got a couple of free FRs that I didn't have access to, which was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the last time they did this, well, I had every FR, but I was trying to hunt dupes down because I needed them for resources. Because the power, what do you call them, the high power stones or whatever you call them, like they don't come a dime a dozen as much. Like you need to, and I think they did that on purpose because the FR gauge itself is a very powerful mechanic. So you don't want people running around like having maxed out FRs for like every single character that gets them because that would just be too much. So I think it's a
Yeah.
good way to kind of like have players kind of pick and choose and be like, all right, I think I want this FR because I have plans to use it for this, this, and this, or maybe I can skip this one. Like I already know which ones personally I'm gonna be skipping when they come out to global based on my experience on JP. So I think they did a good job as far as making these particular materials kind of more difficult to obtain. They're not nearly as flourishing as some of the other resources. So it allows players to kind of pick and choose and get the characters that they really truly want to invest in. So
Yeah. Most of the recent FRs have been having really, really, really strong like BT or esque FRs on them when you press the FR. I mean, like it's just straight up brave cap and HP damage cap, which are two very, very important stats.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so if you end up getting any of these, then yeah, that's good, and you might consider one to build them up. But for me, I got all the FRs I needed all I need right now, so I probably won't be building or just holding on to them until later, until I feel like I want to build them or use them for like a transcendence or whatnot. So we can go over also Beatrix's FR. Were you able to read about on that one?
I did. I actually have it in front of me here too, just so I have a chance to take a look at it here. So yeah, Beatrix is getting an FR. Her FR partner is Snow. I'm not sure what the similarities are between those two, because don't they usually pair them up?
Apparently, they protect each other or something like that. That's what I'm reading about.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Sometimes these like partners like have some like connections to each other, and like obvious ones, and then not so obvious ones. Apparently, this is one of the cases of not so obvious for my sake. Yeah, so I have no idea.
I'm looking at the FR right now. It's not bad. I mean, it dispels buffs, but I mean, Beatrix was already doing that. And then it looks like the gauge increases when party has 12 or more buffs. If a turn passes, and it looks like total buffs is what increases the percentage. And then the other thing is thunder damage.
Yep.
Or like when thunder attacks are triggered, so like off turn damage with the lightning element. So I could see Kryle gives Thunder Enchant, right? The Kryle call? Yeah, I can see that being used, unless Garnet gives Thunder Enchant herself, or freaking or you can maybe even run it with like Raijin in the party, Dash. Trying to think of like different options that you can run. I think Lightning, even though she's pretty dated, could flourish with this FR active.
Yeah, Beatrix is getting a rework during this time, so we probably might see her getting a like lightning enchant for the party finally. Because from what I remember, I think her lightning enchant is still only for herself, unless they
Mm-hmm.
change it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so her FR seems pretty good. It's pretty generic, which is good for most of the time FRs, because if they're too specific, then they're only relevant for that certain character. Like one I can think of off the top of my head is like Fujin, where if like the bulk of her HP damage bonus from the FR increases only if she's the one that launches, which is like okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, the more
Yeah. That's
generic it is, the better in my case.
yeah. I agree.
Like yeah, that condition should be somewhat relevant to that character, but also somewhat easy for the other party members to fulfill, or else you're just going to be seeing very
Mm-hmm.
skewed numbers like 2%, 80%, 3%, 80%,
Mm-hmm.
like that kind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
And then who's next right after Beatrix? Isn't it Rydia?
yep, it is video.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited for that. Just mainly because her FR partner is Terra, and I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I was reading up on this one as well. I'm not sure if her LD debuff is like already has this, but like she therefore puts on a debuff that is defense down, turn rate down, and HP or brave damage up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all in a frame debuff, but I'm pretty sure that's from her. That's from one of her existing frame buffs.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking
Uh,
at the force gauge for it too. The only thing that I don't like about it is okay. So when a turn passes with a character selecting a water attack command, you increase it, and then the other one is when dealing weakness damage, you increase it. But then the other trigger is when evading an enemy attack. So I can. So it's like, do you want enemies to act when you're using this, or do you want to just keep them pinned down and take advantage of the other two?
I think you still want
Uh,
to, because I think she only has those two conditions, and that last condition with the elemental weakness is like the FR aura up, where like your party members deal increased HP damage and HP cap up while they're
mhm,
dealing the weakness damage with the water.
mhm. Okay, because not I the it's cool that she gets Terra as her partner. I'm just the FR time itself, uh, that evading an enemy attack is just it kind of sticks out to me as being odd when the other two are focused on elemental and dealing weakness damage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe that's just me. I will probably have to see it in practice, but I mean, I'm for sure going to be pulling for this character because she's a favorite. I would just probably have to try to put her FR gauge into practice a little bit more and to see how to make it optimized. It's
Yes.
just weird that you have two effects where it takes advantage of your party acting, and then the other effect you want enemies to attack. You know?
Yeah. It's sort of similar to like Celeste, where you get more out of it if you let the bosses take a turn, so you can't be too
Mm-hmm.
greedy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, probably won't be pulling for any of these like mid-month BT like FRs, because I'm already pretty low on gems right now from Jack Garland.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, reworks, we already saw Greg's rework. It was okay. It
Yeah, Greg got the short end of the stick again.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of expected that. I mean, like, I
Yeah,
wasn't
forever.
really holding my breath for him to become like top DPS.
Mm-hmm.
But besides him, Beatrix, and then finally Lightning's getting a rework.
Mm-hmm.
It's too bad her rework is coming a little bit prior before the mid month, because the mid month has something very very cool for BT characters, which is
Yes.
yeah. But I think it still should be fine in the long run. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe when she comes back with an FR, she's gonna see like that kind of treatment.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm really excited for this upgrade that they're gonna be giving for that's coming out. Was it mid-May, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the BT reworks, the BT effect reworks. This is something that I was talking about a lot in past streams. Where why don't they rework some of these really horrible BT effects, like Onion Knight, Shantoto, Golbez. I'm trying to think of more.
Kuja, Arden. I mean, the
Yeah,
base
there's some
ones.
really,
The
that
base.
are just really underwhelming.
Yeah. Some of them, like you can see, that needs like a little bit of extra oomph. I mean, like some like Ray of Light also needs a little bit of help because I mean it's good for a lot like regenerating a lot of like HP, not HP, a lot of Brave and whatnot, and some minor buffs, but it also needs just more oomph to it to be on par with some of these recent BTs, which are still insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that though because I want to see how creative they can get with getting with improving these lackluster BT effects.
So that might mean that the future BTs that we haven't seen yet, like Garnet, might even get even stronger when she comes out for JP. You think she's gonna get even stronger version of her BT?
Which character was that again?
Garnet.
Oh, Garnet. I don't know.
She's,
What do you think about her BT effect if it were present right now on JP? What do you think?
I so say it's pretty, like very very strong.
Yeah, I think it is.
Provides a lot of like necessary buffs to the party. That the main thing was that Brave refund on every single turn, and also just the good stats. And if her BT effect goes off or the turn duration expires, then you get that very nice frame gold debuff, which I can see. But if they do give her a BT rework or just the intended BT effect, then I could see that being a completely bigger nuke than it currently is on global to JP, and having its effects maybe a little bit like boosted up, just to make it worthwhile, so that you can let it expire.
Yeah, I think this what I really like about it is that when it expires, it still like kind of lingers with that golden debuff. I mean, you miss out on the HP damage cap up that comes from the burst effect, but it kind of like gives you something back, so you can continue persisting and taking advantage of part of it. So I think if it comes out, I'm not sure if that would be an effect that should be reworked, because I think honestly it's still fine.
Yeah.
If it were present in current JP content, but we're just gonna have to see, because now that JP BT plus effect reworks are a thing, we're just gonna have to see if that's something that they're gonna be doing consistently with upcoming BTs that we know that are still not present yet on JP. If that's going to be like more consistent, or are they only going to rework the really bad ones? Because I think this is something that they could take advantage of like older characters who get their BTs repeated or something like that, where they actually just straight up just rework them and be like, all right, here you go.
Yeah, I mean the first one that came to mind was Golbez. Like his BT effect at the time was good, but it lasted too short for 4 turns, and now bosses just basically don't care about not having any Brave. They straight up will just still nuke you without Brave and insta-kill you. So his BT effect probably might need a little bit extra oomph to it. I mean, yeah, we have a couple that come to mind, but besides that, Furion is also coming out with the video, so that's another BT character. So, listen, I mean, with all these BT characters coming out, and the month of May means that we get another extra free pull banner alongside them, so we have extra chances to get the FRs and extra free BTs. But do you also want to talk about? Oh yeah, and near the end of May, they told us that, like, after, not in the OPOP, but in the in-game event, that Machina is getting an FR with Kieran. So
Machina is getting FR.
So yeah, Machina is not getting a rework, but he's getting an FR. And I can already assume that his FR effect is going to be if you're using a change HP attack or brave
Mm-hmm.
attack, then he's going to do a lot more damage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can see that being a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because isn't that similar to Yuna's FR effect?
Yep. Enchilada.
Yep. So there's some ideas there that you could use with Machina because I've been seeing Machina used even in current Shinryu era as just the primary damage dealer to take advantage of the FR gauge, whatever FR gauge is active, and he works pretty well because that HP command still does a lot of damage. It's still a lot of damage even on base. It's a lot.
Yeah. Now now you can add even more to it from all these
Hmm.
other fun toys we have available. But I
Hmm.
think sometime somewhere in between here and near the end of the May month, we have a new character coming out. Would you like to talk about who that is and explain to us who that character is?
Hang on one second. Let me look at the notes. Oh yes, new character for May. Fusoya from FF4. Sorry guys, not Tella. I know we'd like to see Tella for the memes, but Fusoya from Final Fantasy IV is the silhouette. If you guys look in the JP in-game announcements, and the hint to, I saw the translation posted on Dissidia DB when Rem tweeted it out, but the translation was all like he's a magic user that had special bonds with like Golbez and stuff, and I was all like, that's Fusoya, and the silhouette is literally Fusoya. So I think that's super cool that they're bringing, I don't know, an actual playable character from a Final Fantasy, not some of these NPCs that we have been seeing as of late. Which is cool that they bring in an NPC as a playable character, but it's an actual playable character. So I'm actually pretty excited for him. And, I have bias towards FF4 because it is my favorite game. So I'm pretty stoked to see what they're going to be doing for Fusoya and what kind of skills he's going to be using, and if his FR or whatever he does will involve Golbez being in it, because one of the special things that they do in Final Fantasy IV is like double Meteo, where they both cast, well, it's double Meteor, but in the SNES translation that I played, it was double Meteo, where they both cast Meteor. So I want to see if that's going to be implemented somehow. Heartless Nobody's asking, think Fusoya FR partner will be Golbez? It will not, because they do try to keep him from different
Yeah,
series.
they
Yeah.
tried to make it not so obvious. I mean, it would have been cool if like Jack Garland's partner was Garland and have
Mm-hmm.
like a that like double take is like, who are you? But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they don't usually like to keep them to like change them up from like different series and make it like
Mm-hmm.
some similarities and not so obvious similarities between the two
Mm-hmm.
characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, Fusoya. I mean, I'm excited to see meteors being dropped on to people and seeing if we can have more than one. If he's going to be able to break the record of how many meteors are going to be dropped on to bosses.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because meteor based attacks have been kind of a meme in this game because it seems to be something that they like to give characters quite often. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, anything else you want like to talk about with Fusoya?
And we're just gonna have to see when they release more info on him. I mean, in Final Fantasy IV, he specialized in using high. He had access to all the high level, white magic and black magic. I think his shtick though is that because he was also an old man, or he was depicted as an old man, his MP pool was very small. So I wonder if they could creatively kind of work that in, because he was very similar to the character Tella in that because they were in their older age already. They didn't have the necessary MP to constantly cast all these spells. Well, Tella had it worse because something tragic happens to Tella, unfortunately. But yeah, Fusoya has kind of that same kind of a deal of not having enough MP to cast all these high level spells. But we'll see. We'll see what they're gonna do. Maybe they might make him maybe they might make him a support and focus more on his white magic, because he did have access to both white and black magic, or maybe make him a hybrid. I think there's a lot of things that they can do with him. Zodi mentions he also had pathetic HP. They both had pathetic HP. Both Fusoya and Tella both had pathetic HP. Um, yeah. So, but we're gonna have to wait and see. But that's pretty much what the character did in his game. So whatever they decide to do, they should go off of that. try to pay homage to how he was in his native game.
But yeah, I think we got to the end of the doc. The only thing, the only thing that we didn't really mention is that the new small quality of life feature is that the call ability placement is based on the slots now instead of characters, so then you don't have to just constantly swap out the call abilities. Like each team has like the set call ability on that in like the first, second, third slot, so then you don't have to keep on swapping them out.
Yeah, I thought that was a glitch when I encountered it earlier because I didn't read up on all of the notes. I didn't know that that was an actual quality of life. I think it's a cool quality of life, but it threw me off when I was just going in with Jack Garland to farm Bahamut boards for him. I was like, wait, what is going on? Is this a glitch? But I guess it's a quality of life. So that's a cool quality of life. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I still would like them to rework the friends list, but who knows when they're going to do something like that. That's a quality of life that needs to exist on both games because the friends list is still an issue for me, but
yeah.
it is what it is, you know?
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think we got to now we have gone through everything in the doc and everything that I want to talk about. Did you want anything else you want to talk about?
Just the normal. Watch out for hot takes, guys. Watch out for people that try to give you try to give you advice that only watch JP content but have never actually experienced it. I saw this a lot with Jack Garland. There was a few hot takes, and then for those of you that play global only, be careful of the hot takes for like Snow, because I know we're supposed to be talking JP, but I do want to address this because I know that Snow gets overhyped a lot with his BT effect, but I actually think that his BT effect is good, but it doesn't. I don't feel it deserves the attention that it's getting versus like Kieran's BT effect. I actually like Kieran's BT effect a whole lot more than Snow's. I think Snow's, while it is powerful, it's a little bit more gimmicky, and it does not age super well in the Shinryu era, where your Brave gains get heavily affected by the enemy FR gauge, because it's all about the Brave gains, and it scales well with a ton of Brave gain. But if your Brave gains are being impacted, well, what's he good for? You know, so just watch out for those. You know, question if people tell you that, oh, so you should pull for so and so because it's broken, unless there is a clear visual example that it is super broken and it's shown like in multiple different like sources. Like Jack Garland is an example of like, yes, this is very busted because you're adding in a crazy amount of additional damage across the entire party with this new mechanic of, you know, minus brave. You know what I mean? So just watch out for those hot takes.
Make sure just to double check, and if anyone says like, oh, they promised us a global first for this character, it's like, okay, show the source of where they actually said that.
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
And like question like this person, like, have I seen them on JP channels before? Have you been catching up with the news? And like you can just like if they can't like find it and they're just going off of like what they say, and like they can't literally like screenshot like the screen account saying any of these things, then yeah. Besides, most of the time, sure. These companies are not going to say the words promise or
no.
Most of the time, anyway.
Yeah, because they have to also protect themselves. They have an NDA, you know, that they have to adhere to, and if they can never really use these strong words such as like promise, because then they have to do it, you know. So yeah, that was never stated. Anybody that thinks that they stated that global is supposed to get Jack Garland first, that was never ever stated. There was no official source stating that whatsoever.
Yeah, so the only thing that probably they got it confused with was they tweeted out, hey, Jack Garland is coming to DFFOO, that's it.
Yeah. That he will be implemented in the game, but they did not specify which version, but it was more than likely it was going to be JP anyways. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's a toss-up, like, if we got him on Global, I mean, cool. I mean, that's another cool character that JP can look forward to. But yeah, I
For
mean,
sure.
it's not that big of a deal for in my case that if he wasn't going to come. But since he did come, I mean, I'm cool just playing with him.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. So, yeah, I don't have anything else to add other than it's always cool to have this discussion with you and kind of feel it, give the community another source to, listen to some content about this game, upcoming stuff, and kind of give our own opinions and thoughts about, what's coming out on the JP side of Opera Omnia. So,
Yeah, same.
for sure. Do you want to close it off,
Sure.
Flops?
So thank you guys for watching. It's been a fun time chatting with 40 doing these podcast episodes, and Zodi, I hope you feel better in the future episodes, and then you can join us again. And be sure to check out my YouTube and 40's YouTube and Twitch and the stuff, and his meme channel and his Twitter, so
Yes.
that you can catch up on all the weird gimmicks that me, him, and other people get into. And
yes, we definitely spice things up in this community with our odd humor, but it's fun. It's all love. It's all fun.
But yeah, if you missed any of the podcast episode today, you can look back on my Twitch channel, 40's Twitch channel, or stay tuned on my YouTube for the episode. But thanks again, 40, for joining me on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me as always.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.